conference final match to end stage number 1. Let's get it.
We go away from the sandy dunes of Border all the way over to Coastline, where it's more cool vibes than anything. And a very nice pool. Sadly, no water inside of that. Might have to refill that later on, but we'll have our initial... Out of season, exactly. We'll have our initial bands come out. Rogue going to be on the defense. For you people that are possibly listening just with your ears and not looking with your eyes. Habana going to be the first band out here for Rogue.
Taking out some Hardbreed potential, and Nomad being the second band attacker. The amount of added freedom it gives the attacker is proving to be too much for Rec to deal with, so they are going to knock it out of the pool, along with Echo will be taken out there as well. Again, pretty standard choice. Normally either see the Echo or Maestro band taken here. They wanted to go for the pick on that, so they choose to take out the Echo, specifically leaving the Maestro in play, more than likely, unless Rogue do something a little bit weird here, but I don't think that's what we're going to see.
Who do we not want?
Okay, never mind. Wow, I just look like an idiot.
Okay,
now,
well, I mean, look, I'm actually going to give you that. I'm going to give you that. You really, not too often, I'll stay in Vegas, it's better. All right, anyways, you do not often see Echo and Maestro both banned. Yeah. It's because they play heavily into denial as well as information. I mean, you have a bulletproof cam that shoots lasers.
Yeah, very much the case.
Bulletproof cam that shoots lasers. Then on the flip side of the coin, you have Echo, which he can literally provide your roamers constant information with his yokais. These guys aren't just for denial, folks. They have so many more uses.
This does mean, however, that Mira is going to be left in play, meaning the Penthouse will probably be a much more appetizing site for both of these teams to pick on defense, but that's not what we're going to see Rogue start out. They will still use the Mira, but it's going to be down at Kitchen Service, where we oftentimes see Rogue specifically, I think, starting out a lot of their defenses on, so this still plays into their overall strat and what we've kind of come to expect from them on Coastline play.
All right, in Coastline specifically, after coming off these 2 maps of Border for both of these teams, actually, Rogue experienced a little bit more of Border than others, but that's absolutely fine. Coastline being a map that you can traverse extremely quickly, and if you guys are still with us from our prior map with Team Reciprocity, that's going to bode well for the roam game of Rec. They like to traverse the map very quickly and have their presence known throughout the entirety of it. So we'll see if they continue to have that here on Coastline, but defense-wise, we're going to be starting with Rogue, as they will start things off downstairs in Kitchen.
We're still going to see Shuttle on the Mirror playing upstairs inside of the Penthouse and Theater, more importantly than anything else, to deny the large window hopping for the guys on Rec, should they want to try and go for that at the start of this match. Rec, of course, just getting themselves out onto the board about 10 seconds ago. We'll see where exactly they take their play at the beginning. We're going to have Laxing getting up on top to try and play into that big window and see if there's any attempts to peek out here, any attempts from Rogue trying it a little bit more aggressive with their play to start off on defense, but I don't think that's what we're going to end up seeing. Rec will now get themselves into position, and we'll start to see the beginnings of their push, primarily towards the front of the resort here, as they try to push their way probably slowly towards the big window, but of course need front entrance control before they can do that.
2-tier clear here as Fox A will push in from office, and they're going to have Retro upstairs and Hookah trying to see if they can find any roamers. And Fox A is going to help out quite a bit with that, able to track those feet with his Inox or just foot tracker. Whoever cares about lore, there you go. Anyways, Jackal going to be downstairs and trying to find as many feetsies as he possibly can. So they are going to keep Retro up here to just keep that pressure if finally Fox A does find any of those footsies that he's always looking for. Looks like he is going to go with that C7E. Does have a very good secondary SMG as well, or excuse me, secondary weapon for his primary that he can possibly use, the PDW, which lots of people enjoy. 50-round mag capacity, but that's not going to do very well for his face, as he's going to get it ripped to pieces easily. Will open things up for Rogue.
Quick hello and a goodbye on top of that to Fox A from Easily. As Rogue start things off strong, not even a whole lot of damage to trade it back, loses about half of his HP. He can still play into that pretty easily. Another one picked up by him as well. He's able to find Mark on the map here too. So already that's 2 big pieces of utility going down here. The Capitao, which would have been amazingly useful, specifically on this site for the execution, now losing the Zofia as well. They're down to basically just intel ops at this point for their attack. Nothing to use on the actual breach, let alone the fact they're going to have to bring this back from a 2v5 now. Definitely not the start that Rec were looking for.
Reciprocity in a rock and a hard place now, but it is the first round, and they are just coming off of a decently close map on border once again. So could just be trying to iron some things out after getting used to the playstyle of Scylla's and going immediately into this game against Rogue, which is someone that's a little bit more seasoned, to say the least. As we are going to see Skies get aggressive inside a blue bar. That F2 going to help him out quite a bit as Slash Ugg will go down. Those body shots so dangerous with the F2's rate of fire. Laxing will find one on the other side of the map, but Eclipse will take down Skies. 13 seconds left on the clock, 3 people to find, only 19 rounds in that 5.52 commando, but it's not going to matter. Eclipse will take down Laxing. That's going to be the first round going Rogue's way.
Quick lineup on the kill hole there to make things nice and easy, as you're about to see on the replay right here. Unfortunately, Laxing, we've seen some incredible stuff from him, specifically in that last match, but the 1v3, he was technically the 1v4 he was pitted against, is just asking slightly too much for him and the rest of his team there. So Reciprocity will drop that opening round. Rogue will find success, but instead of switching up to the penthouse, we are going to see them go over to the other side of the map, still on the second floor, of course. Go to the double rooms, the hookah billiards on the second floor to try and keep their defensive streak rolling now.
Reciprocity is slowed down quite a bit from what we saw in their last game, really respecting the presence of Rogue. And it's actually going to get them a slight punishment early on, as Fox A is going to try and traverse the map immediately to site from offices through blue bar into the main hallway. And he's going to get punished for that. That's going to be the opening frag going Rogue's way, where he easily got that, and he immediately followed it up, put it into a 5 versus 3. Eventually got on down the line, and things just did not come together at all for Reciprocity. Eventually getting down to a 2v5, and nothing really to show for it, as we are entering round number 2.
So Rogue still with your standard setup, a little bit of emphasis onto the inside VIP too, to be able to hold against the big window hop in from here. But the majority of these players are going to start working their way downstairs to either harass or set up early round utility to play with. You'll immediately see at least 1 or 2 players start to work their way back upstairs after they've established that. It's going to take a few more seconds to complete the setup, but they don't have necessarily the time for it anymore. Wreck are out on the board once again. Foxy working his way in from the east towards the front of the building. Majority of the rest of the team working their way, or at least 2 of them, over towards the hookah doorway, where they're going to have to sit for the rest of the round, more than likely, if general expectations for this site's play is any indication.
I expect things to ramp up a little for Reciprocity here. They were doing so good on getting early information, those early frags in their last match. Granted, once again, it once was against a younger team, and Rogue is definitely not that, but it's something they've done against Rogue in prior matches. So we'll see if they are able to find the exact same success as they have against Rogue prior to this.
Sky still trying to peek into the window. It's slightly behind the first barricade here in hookah. There is a hard ping onto one player sitting behind the bar, but it's not going to be the easiest thing to lock down. Slash, however, still manages to pick things up on the defense as he finds the opening kill from the Legion. Laxing still looking for revenge upon that, trying to hunt a player down that's inside of the downstairs bars, but no luck so far. Sky is coming close to finding the angle against a player at the Cool Vibe stairs too. He'll actually take further damage from it than his opponent did, however. Not much, though, exchange between either side. Only about 10 to 15 damage getting chipped off of either player.
Reciprocity slowly gaining map control. Oh my goodness, what a shot. A little bit of a put him in phase moment there for Skies, as he's going to take down easily. Laxing going to be able to follow it up. Mark, once again, as they just tack on and tack on and tack on. Eclipse, possibly a round-winning kill here if he can get it. That MPX does so little damage, though, and Laxing will end up winning the fight with that 5.52 commando. The most damaging AR in the game, actually.
Couple of factors for that. We'll end up seeing the last push made by Skies, and Wreck will be able to clean up shop, taking a much more confident round number 2 with a very, very easy push into hookah that goes unanswered by Rogue for the majority of the round. A quick tie now. We locked at 1-1. This will take us into our 3rd round, where more than likely Rogue have the chance to attempt the same site, but no, they're going to take us down a floor instead, it seems, and head over to the double bars to see how their play here works instead.
Reciprocity proving that if you force people to make errors and have them rotate into your teammates, it makes things very, very easy for you. That's exactly what they did. Throughout that entire round, you saw Reciprocity slowly but surely take map control and make Rogue try and work their way around it. And as Rogue did that, Reciprocity already had bodies set up on the other side of the map, holding angles so that once Rogue did try to do that, they got immediately punished. I'm going to expect Reciprocity to try and do this over and over and over again until Rogue tries to have a burst of aggression to fix that. But something we've seen for quite a long time with Rogue is that they're quite a rigid team. They like to stick to their strategies, and if the strats don't work, then Rogue doesn't work.
Very much the case. However, also a little bit more of a strat-focused team. Comes down to the wire here than Rec, who relies on more than anything quick adjustments and very much individual efforts to a certain extent to get their job done. So on defense, this is where you'd expect Rogue more than anything to be able to outwit Reciprocity, but it was certainly not the case in the last round. Played themselves right into the faces of Reciprocity and unfortunately came out on the losing side of a majority of those 1vx fights, including a literal drop shot that one player was able to get from the top balcony leading into Hookah, down in through the side window. The members of Rec out on the board. It looks like they're going to start to think by droning out service and potentially leaving that as an option for them to push in from. No one entering the building just yet, though. However, we do see a large number of players starting to rotate over towards the first downstairs bar and potentially make a direct attempt to push this site, just like we saw in the last round for Hookah. Also, of course, they'll establish a Claymore presence upstairs. Quickly manage to get rid of one of the jammers from the mute, just to make sure no one attempts a cheeky run out on them.
Claymore's very useful in that sense, but is going to be the bars for the defense, and it actually appears that they are more or less holding it like Hookah. They dedicated a lot of reinforcements upstairs to the couch quadruple wall, actually, on the other side of Billiards, so that no one can try and get pressure from upstairs and establish an angle unless they want to dedicate possibly some Habana pellets to that. But as you guys can see, we don't have that for Team Reciprocity. So it seems that they're just going to try and do as the birds do and get aggressive onto site, and Shuttle will immediately alleviate that, as once again easily is going to follow things up, and this seems like one-sided on every single round so far.
Yeah, it just takes so long for the opposing team that's on the losing side of things to get a response in. I never really see that ever bounce back too heavily in the midst of the round. Thankfully, there's time for Rec to play this slowly. Maxing obviously having to speed things up a little bit on his own there, as he's nearly taken out by a C4, but Fox and Eclipse went on trade blows, breaking us down to a 4v2, 4v1 as Slasha completes his aggressive push out the hallway to pick up the kill. Laxing left alone once again, unfortunately. We said before, he's an incredible player, but the 1v3, once again, it might be asking a little bit too much from him. He's going to attempt to self-drone. He should be able to see the foot on top of the hatch. I'd be very surprised if he didn't catch that and realize the player below. But regardless, that player right above the hatch is going to have an angle on him as he tries to push into the Sunrise bar. Regardless, he'll attempt to adjust for it. Now the angle's far too small, though. Slash will get the better of him from downstairs, and Rogue take a single-handed victory here in round number 3 to take the lead at 2-1.
Well, it's been back and forth between teams all day, so do we really expect anything different, Blue? No. I think not. Reciprocity just playing into exactly what Rogue wanted them to do. Hey, take downstairs. We have everyone established upstairs to stop you. And that's exactly what Reciprocity did. They did not try and alleviate any of the pressure that was upstairs inside of Hookah and Billiards, and that's what they got punished by in the end.
So, an attempt to change things back over now that we've gone past the 2-round unlock limit. It's back over to Kitchen and Service here for Rogue, where they had a very confident win in the past too. Even going for a quick little 6 picks here, change out the mute for the smoke. A little bit more useful given the very choke point focused nature of push. The way that the way that this often plays out is very choke point focused. What did I say there? So Rogue will be able to find a lot more use out of the smoke compared to the mute on the site.
Coastline, a very unique map in one sense. Well, actually two senses. One, you can traverse the map very quickly, that we noted on earlier, but two, you really don't need a hard destructor in order to attack this map. If you guys can see the lineup from Reciprocity in all of their previous sets as well so far in this map, they've not brought a hard breacher just yet, and you really don't need one. You can bring those better guns for those gunfights. I mean, Thermite's gun is good, but there's still better guns to bring and better utility that could help your team out in the end.
Yeah, a lot of soft destruction that can be abused on walls, which will more than likely be left open, and on top of that, just easy access from multiple angles on a lot of the sites, which make the hard breach not as useful, with maybe 1 or 2 sites being where you'd like to bring something like a Hibana, but if I recall correctly, we have her banned out, so she wouldn't even be able to be used. Not to be a Thatcher, or if you're feeling real crazy, you could bring a Maverick into the fold there too.
traditional take so far for Team Reciprocity is they're going to get roof presence, and unlike other maps, this map actually has a lot of access from the roof. This entire empty square in the middle, or square donut, whatever you really want to call it, helps out offenses quite a bit, and it makes it hard to traverse on the defense. There's a lot of areas where you can get seen from the roof and punished for your rotations, and Fox can definitely provide those bullets. But it appears that Reciprocity is going to continue what they've been doing so far this game, and slow and steady wins the race. Slowly take over the map, get pressure, make Rogue mess up in some sense, get one of those early picks, and try and win the round.
So move in. Oh, takes the big bait, however, on the alibi illusion. He'll give himself away for a couple of seconds here. He's pretty much on the opposite side of the map, however, so really doesn't have to worry about any repercussions from that, just because of the way the fact that he's pushed to the inside.
Skies, peering into kitchen, and it feels like Reciprocity is laid back quite a bit from their prior match. I mean, a lot more angle holding as we have seen so far, and Retro going to try and get in a gunfight. Recognizes Doc at 90. That's going to be vertical, but does not want to re-peek into that, as Vert does have a little bit of an advantage on that pixel peek. Fox A, though, will find the initial frag. Laxing there to back him up. A shuttle will go down as well. And things are starting to warm up just a little bit. Slash Hug, though, will open things up for Rogue, as he's actually going to win a gunfight against Skies down here inside of Sunrise, but it's going to be Refrag City, as Reciprocity will come out on the top of the pile, and they will win their second round.
The communication just not coming out quickly enough there for our last player alive to be able to adjust and catch Fox A in the corner, so he's able to pick up the majority of the damage on the last two frags there, closing it out for Rec. Back and forth continues to be the nature at which this game will be played, and one-sided rounds on top of that. It's always 3 or more alive for the winning team, and the defending or losing team ends up getting wiped out entirely, taking us into another 2-2 tied scenario where Rogue will get to reattempt at the same site. Back over to kitchen service once more. They'll keep trucking on with this site.
With Reciprocity's playstyle right now, it more or less seems like, okay, we have our map control, and then here's a burst of speed to try and get some presence somewhere else. Rogue tries to counteract that by getting the refrag, then Reciprocity just completely unravels and somehow wins the round in just a flurry over the kill feed.
Them being able to push ahead with that. Laxing, of course, as you'd expect, still leading the charge in this respect, but it's a much closer affair compared to the rest of his teammates this time. I think it actually just stacks right down, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Nice little visual there, those of you who care about that.
Marcio, can we see the scoreboard one more time? I would surely appreciate it. Thank you. 5-2-0.
Dang it, Retro.
You tried. You tried. Tried your best.
Shuttle is now an honorary member of Reciprocity in my eyes.
When you tried your best, but it's not enough.
What's that from?
Honestly, I can't remember. Don't ask me questions.
I've heard it before.
It's 5 a.m. I have no idea.
It's almost 6, actually.
Don't tell me that. Oh, man. In case you guys were wondering, we're in Poland, so time difference is a thing. And yeah, it's almost 6 a.m. Anyways.
For you guys, the night's just getting started.
Night is young.
It's either midnight or 9 p.m. or somewhere in between there, if you're in the middle of the States.
Yeah, go out, text that girl you've always wanted to text. Find love, folks. That's what you want to do.
Wait till the stream is over, though. We don't want you to leave.
Yeah. If it's on your phone, you can do it during break.
Wait about 30 minutes.
You're so selfish. All right. Anyways,
care about the shareholders, you know?
Exactly. Delving back into this, though, we are going to continue to have Fox on Jackal. He's going to have some bold shot at him, and it's going to be the feet of the man that shot at him, actually. And on the other side of things, Buck's going to go down very, very early on. Skies will get removed from the equation. No more skeleton key, no more frag grenades.
Fox 8 continue to crawl forward here. A little bit of support still lurking behind him.
Oh, Eclipse wants it. He wants it so bad.
Got him on track.
But he's going to have help on the other end of 9 if you can hear the footsteps of either Rook or Doc. I believe it's Vert upstairs with him. But this is going to be perfect timing. Vert's actually going to win that gunfight, but he's going to get down. Beauty is that Vert is Doc, so he's going to be able to pick up his teammate with just a simple syringe from across the map, and that's exactly what he's going to do. As you guys can see in the top right of your screen, Eclipse has 75 health, which helps him out quite a bit. That is one thing that helped out Doc quite a bit after that nerf came to picking people up by your hand, where it is 20 health. He gets to pick you up with a syringe, and you have 75.
Got Retro still trying to peek down 90 here. Not being given a whole lot in terms of info by his opponents. The Laxing with a good lineup was able to take down Slash. Finally picking up a trade here. A little bit of intel found onto another one of the members of Rogue. I believe it was Eclipse being spotted out in the hallway there, so they've got his position on locking a play off of that. But still a man down here, in addition to the fact that Laxing took some decent damage. But Mark's ready to go. They're ready to already commit themselves to a push, so we are going to start to see, I believe the asphyxiation bolts are going to work their way out. However, still having the smoke, and that's where that 6-pick comes in to potentially help these guys out a little bit as they sneak it in. Help them actually realizing this is going to be something that they have to deal with potentially. Now the smokes can continue to hold them back for a few extra seconds. Will not wait out this entire 40 seconds, but it will take away a lot of that time. In the meanwhile, Shuttle and Mark will trade blows with the deaths of Easily and Laxing being the results of that. The C4 going down. It doesn't take down Retro, but it does take down another one of his teammates. Mark gets eliminated by that, and Retro will be able to clean up the last two, taking over the round for Reciprocity.
Oh my, that was like Matrix moment for me. Like, we were on the ACOG of the opposite player. I'm like, oh, he just got the kill. Then goes, Reciprocity victory. Collateral kill there for Retro. After coming off of that last match where, you know, he more or less was on support the entire time and really couldn't find too much success in kills. Heck of a round from him.
But so, Rogue, a little bit stubborn tonight. Definitely not switching up these sites very much. Normally, from my experience, it's only been, you know, 1 or 2 attempts in a row that we see teams go for on the same site, and then they're willing to switch it up pretty casually after that. But Rogue going to try this for a 3rd time in a row now on Kitchen Service.
That'll make 4 times in total on their defensive side of things.
The last round, too.
Yeah, and they've only won it 1 time. Once. The other site that they won on was Bars. They did not win on Hookah. That was actually where Reciprocity's first round came from, was winning Hookah. So we'll see if, you know, 3rd time in a row is the charm for Rogue.
So with Laxing leading the charge there, as you generally expect, and Wrexham good on the fly adjustments. It's often in chaos where Rec will thrive, and that certainly is the case after the last round. Usual reinforcements working their way in here now for the guys on Rogue as they attempt to play into Service and Kitchen one final time. Let's see if they can come out on top of this one, at least giving us a tie at 3-3. Give them a springboard to work off of moving into the second half. If not, they'll be fighting from behind if Rec finds their own consistency and is able to push ahead here on the attacking side. They only need 3 rounds on defense to close out. That's just 1 full rotation of sites. We've seen teams pull that off relatively easily with greater stakes on the line.
Definitely a dangerous roam duo to go up against, as we've touched on in the past, and honestly I think this site is worth the replay. It was so very close to that last round, and might have been a lack of communication, but just don't peek at the same time, guys. Like, that's not what you want to happen. Worst case scenario, try and go for the refrag on somebody else immediately. You guys are more or less on the same angle. When that first gunfight happens, try to jump on board, but peeking at the same time, it's more or less going to get you punished in that sense. As the opening frag will be onto Slashug. That's going to be the Rook. They're trying to bring the ACOG brothers, but one of them is already perished.
With one of the bros down and out, it's going to come down to Doc to save the day. The self-healing brother, arguably the more prevalent one of the 2.
Oh, that's not nice. He's got feelings, you know.
He's the...
I know he's dead, but like, come on.
Doc is the Mario to Rook's Luigi. You know?
Oh man, that is a low blow. That is a low blow. Oh my goodness. But it seems that Reciprocity does want to try and keep this man advantage as long as possible, as they are taking things a little bit slow. And as soon as I'm going to say that, I will eat my words as Skies opens up a can onto opposing player, but Burt and Shuttle there for a refrag and then a kill, as things will be equalized.
Pop over from Skies to try and get aggressive, hides directly behind the A-bomb itself. We'll try to work from it to leverage more kills. It's Foxy that finds one, just barely getting himself behind coverage as well. Additional support from the outside as Fox even finds that second kill despite the low HP. Last and final member of Rogue will attempt to peek into it, but again, Laxing will come in for the assist just as he's needed to close out on the IQ and giving them control over yet another round, and more importantly, a 4-2 lead coming off their attacking half.
I know some of you old guard Elevate fans were very happy to see Skies on Ash right there, doing what he does best, getting extremely aggressive. He's the only one on site, ladies and gentlemen. Only one on site, and he's making Rogue feel just like all the walls are closing in around them. He's getting aggressive. He had all of kitchen control. He made them push all the way back into service entry, and that's where they got punished. They had to try and burst into lobby, or the rest of Reciprocity is waiting for them.
Well, it is going to be Reciprocity's turn to jump onto the defensive side now. Like I said, with a 4-2 lead, only 3 more rounds are needed for them to be able to close out on this map and the series that comes along with it, earning them a spot in the stage playoffs. If they come out on top of that, they'll qualify for the LAN. And of course, have that chance to go for the lion's share of the $156,000 that is on the line here for Season 2 of USN in the finals. Of course, we'll be revealing more info on as we get closer to that. Still a ways away. We're at the very start of the USN, which will be going all year long, folks, all the way up, I believe, until around December, when I would guess we'll be having the finals.
Probably. I mean, that's our best guess, obviously, but something that really blows me away about teams playing against Team Reciprocity is the lack of trap ops or just anything trying to delay them from doing what they want to do. I mean, there wasn't a single time that Rogue took Legion. I can say that confidently. Not a single time that they took Legion. I mean, I know that they have an IQ, but the man gets 8 traps so you can put around. You didn't bring an Ella, you didn't bring anything to try and slow them down in any sense. Reciprocity does very, very well against teams that allow them to gain pressure. That's exactly what Rogue did. They fell into the trap once again.
I mean, basically, Rogue just handed over like 3/4 of the map on a silver platter every round because they didn't really even have heavy roaming presence, in my opinion, to try and stop any of this. They were very site-focused, very oriented to, you know, even just the adjacent rooms around the site was really all we saw the defense extend itself out towards. And because of that, it's exactly as you said, Rec were just able to walk over their early round clear and focus pretty much 2 minutes or more of the round on the site itself.
Just another day in a very sunny office here on Coastline Blue, and just to add a little bit of a fact to that, they didn't even hold down Sunrise Blue Bar at all. They didn't have any presence over there, no information bases except for the default camera. I mean, what? Giving away the farm. Giving away the farm really is Rogue right now against Team Reciprocity.
Fox8 is going to get spotted out here behind the bars on the inside of Sunrise as he tries to work himself, or as I should say, the Rogue members are going to try to work themselves to the inside of that play for intel. Obviously, the floor has been bitten up quite a bit, so they'll have to be careful of what exactly is lurking downstairs before they commit themselves to the actual site instead of hookah and billiards. So once again, a much slower broiling affair here for Rogue, not really wanting to try their luck with any bit of aggression. Reciprocity in the other hand here, it's looking like at least the case of their docked Retro. He's wanting to have some fun, try out, see if he can find an angle. He's nearly done it multiple times now. Outside of the hookah doorway, there's neither team able to line up a full kill here. And we're running low on time. We're almost at a minute, and we still have a full 5-on-5 in front of us.
Reciprocity, more or less doing exactly what they did before, where they try and put everyone on every aspect of a certain site. Someone downstairs to try and prevent pressure from underneath. It worked out really well for him, but there's going to be a flurry of kills that come out. 2 fall for Reciprocity. I make that 3 as easily will take down Mark, but it's only going to be Slash Ugg. As the Nitro Cell is going to go up on top, but it's not going to be able to find any damage. Skies will actually take down easily, almost equalizing, but Eclipse getting aggressive with the LMG of IQ. You don't see that one too often, but it does have the highest damage margin of all of her weapons. Good rate of fire with the damage number. Going to do quite a bit of damage to the Laxing, but it's not going to be enough to be fatal, as Vertical will be the one to clean that one up, and that will bring this just a little bit closer. It's going to be 4-3, still in favor of Reciprocity.
Rogue with a slow but steady execution, starting out with their push to work itself in towards hookah, and then slowly expanding it beyond that to the pretty much entirety of this corner of the second floor for this team. It takes them a very long time to establish the presence, but when the push is committed, it is a solid push indeed. And Rec, for the most part, really aren't even able to trade. They just get run over by the execution from Rogue. So really solid stuff from them, and a good foundation to build off of here to start their attack. So for the first time, though, we are going to see a team go over to Penthouse Theater. Went completely unplayed by Rogue on their defensive half, but with Mira in the pool, makes the site a whole lot more viable to play into all of a sudden. So we are going to see Reciprocity take that chance for themselves, and Mark will be the one on the focused operator.
And not a site you see get played too often, and there's a main reason for that, and after the setup goes through, we'll try and talk about it a little bit more. We'll talk about it now. If you guys look into the penthouse area, not theater, that area on the side, the left side of your map here, as we are seeing the scoreboard. Once again, Laxing still on top. Slash going to be top fragging for the opposing team in of Rogue. Looking very, very nice for both teams. But, as you guys can see right now, Theater, Penthouse once again is the site. Theater is going to be the safest place that you can possibly sit on this entire site. Treat all of Penthouse, all of it, I don't care, literally that entire side on the north end of this area as no man's land. You do not want to be there. If you guys don't know what no man's land is, that means if you go in there, you just die. It's a military term, I guess. I mean, it's a military game, so we can just say that, and whatever. Anyways, you do not want to be in that area, because once they get the double window open, it's very, very hard to try and rotate out safely, because 9 times out of 10, someone's going to be waiting there for you to try and remove your head.
Let's see.
Oh, I actually just noticed something as well.
What's up?
Glaz is not banned in this matchup.
Oh, yeah.
Glaz is not. I'm so used to him being banned, but I remember I wrote the bans down. It's not banned. It's actually going to be Habana and Nomad. So I'm honestly surprised that we haven't seen him come out, especially with, I mean, how this map is laid out. He does so well on this map.
You'd think for this site specifically they'd be wanting to play it, but...
this map is legitimately never played in comp.
Yeah.
Because of that aspect of the site. You have basically no man's land sitting right in the middle of the site. You can't rotate through there safely. It's a flip of a coin if you're able to make it across without dying.
So we'll see more specifically if Rogue try to capitalize upon that at a later point in it. But yeah, Rec, went through their entire half completely ignoring it, never even got a chance to use it. To be fair, we never played on this site where it would have been the most useful, but there's certainly other situations where Glass could have been useful here too. It wasn't brought in at all by Rec. Still, of course, did well for themselves at a 4-2 scoreline, overall winning the half.
Heartbeat sensor deployed.
And now we have to see if they can do the same on this defensive side, which so far hasn't started out that great for them. A solid loss on their initial site. Back over towards Hookah Billiards, and now they've gone to the other side of the second floor to hopefully have better luck here. They've done a great job, once again, at wasting time. And this is the same thing that happened in our previous round. Rogue would eventually win. Great bait on the drone. Vertical peaks literally the second it gets shot and makes quick trade of Retro. I think they'll be happy to trade a drone for a player.
You just love to see that kind of entry fragging from such a prominent player. Immediately when that drone gets shot, he's already on top of the drone's broken components and is able to confirm a kill on to Jaeger. And that's going to bode very well for them, as they're going to have most of the pressure, but no, Laxing's going to fill his shoes, and Slashug will pay the price. Not expecting someone to be on couch, and you have to expect the unexpected when you're playing against Reciprocity.
See asphyxiation both starting to move in, should try to force players out, but a Toxic Babe is thrown right back by Skies, who's very low in this situation. He's going to be found out pretty much immediately after the push goes in. Vertical in great position, but doesn't know what to do with himself. He does get traded by Laxing, who still holds the top of the main stairs easily. Able to deal with him, however, and bring this into a 2v3. Still favoring Rogue. We're going to see the Nitro Cell moved out. It's a little bit off the mark, as we can see. It doesn't technically penetrate through that part of the floor, so easily is going to be able to survive, and more importantly, come out on top as Shuttle and Eclipse clean up the last 2 kills for Rogue, giving the round over to them, and now tying us up at 5-5.
So actually, fun fact about that ceiling. Oh, you're good. You're good. You're good. Yes, it is indeed 4-4.
Yeah.
But fun fact, that ceiling is actually 1 layer thicker because of that outline. I don't really know how to describe that silver metallic material that they have. So what it does is, since the Nitro Cell, it's in a radius, right? So it is going to obviously peak right above it. Since he was off to the side a little bit, he didn't get the max blowback from the C4, which gave him his life, and he was able to get the bomb down because of it. All because of how that ceiling is made. That is the beauty of Rainbow Six Siege.
So a very close attempt at a defense there from Reciprocity, and overall a lot more even trades in the two teams for what's been, for the most part, relatively one-sided rounds up until this point, with maybe 1 or 2 exceptions. They're going to try it once again. That game, like I said, very, very close to it. Just ultimately, that Nitro Cell had worked. They probably would have been able to lever that, or at least slow down the plant well enough to where they could have gotten into good enough retake positions. But without that, they're going to have to throw themselves at main stairs and lost their last 2 players without putting up much of a fight there. So we'll see if that gets improved upon. Everything else up to that point was great. That mainly is because of the fact that Rogue has been playing a very passive attack so far and hasn't even really been, moving towards the site until very late into the round. This is 2 rounds now where we've seen them go for kind of surprise and all-in executes right below the 1-minute marker. And for the most part, those executes have been working flawlessly for them.
I think the main thing for that last round is that Vert really was the highlight reel. I mean, he got the initial frag onto couches. Granted, later on, Slashug paid the price for that. But on the latter half of the round, rotates into the back of Theater. There's no one even watching the door, and he's able to frag out smoke behind the mirror. No information, no Valkyrie cram, no default, nothing at all. Not even a piece of barbed wire to stop him. and he really won Rogue that last round.
Very much. Rely on the individual efforts here. It's no different for Rogue. We see this happen often with Reciprocity. Rogue once again get the spot on to where exactly the play is going to be happening, and a whole lot of positional info with this drone. I think swept right by everybody. At least 3 players that got the positions of. That'll be a whole lot of info for the guys on the Rogue to play up when they do commit to their push, but it might be some time, and might be even more time now that Fox has been able to find a pick. However, he does not escape inside of the pull door, and is going to get picked off by easily before he can fall back to safety.
I would say even trade, but Shuttle being on Thatcher is going to be a massive amount of utility loss. I mean, no EMPs. Thatcher, one of the best utilities on the offense for trying to get rid of all electronics. It's very, very punishing. Granted, he did get nerfed just a little bit. He can't get rid of cameras outright anymore. He just disabled the Valkyries, Evil Eyes, and Yokais for 10 seconds. But that's still enough time to be able to get a bomb down if used correctly, and he's not going to be able to have that chance anymore.
They do lose probably the Nitro Cell that they would have had to have on Fox A, so that will be taken out of the pool for Rec. Like you said, in terms of overall utility traded out, still is going to favor the guys on Rec being able to eliminate the Thatcher outright, especially this early on in the round. Say early, but in fact, it's actually almost come to a close here. A little over a minute left, meaning if we're going off of the previous rounds, we should start to see Rogue aggress relatively soon here. This aligns well with their previous play, and it's looking like that is once again going to be the case. They're sitting at the borders of the site now, waiting for their opportunity to push in, but it hasn't really presented itself to them. You can see players from Rec still in hard point positions just on the outside of the site where they're going to be able to harass Rogue on the way in. In fact, laxing a little bit premature on that Nitro Cell, just trying to play into it based on timing. It hasn't worked. Nice. Impact going to be able to clear out this Mira window, however, and reduce their Mira to a very, very small amount of play space here. Mark is going to be uncomfortable at best. The Nitro Cell goes in once again, unsuccessful. Finds a hole in the smoke. They're able to drop one player. Can't confirm the kill just yet. They have pings to notify him of that. Focus on the player instead. The leap over. 2 knife kills in a row for him to finish things off. And just like that, we're in a 4v1, which Laxing will handle quite easily, giving Rec the round.
You know what doesn't lose reception?
What's that?
6 inches of cold steel.
I suppose so, yeah.
That's actually a Thatcher tagline. You're welcome.
Oh. Actually, never heard that one.
He says it in his video. He's talking about how he EMPs everything. Everyone's relying on laser swords and everything. And he's like, you know what doesn't lose reception? 6 inches of cold steel. And that's exactly what Mark's going to use to clean up those 2 downed opponents and win Reciprocity round number 5. The proper amount of aggression at the proper time. He was between a rock and a hard place. He literally had a body-sized pillar in front of him as he stared at a vase. It's like, I don't really know what to do. And actually, he was gifted a utility from the gods. Smoke. Capital is going to put down 2 smoke bullets, which allows Mark to rotate out over behind the bed. Is going to be able to confirm both of those kills, because why would a man rotate over and try and get aggressive when we're trying to get aggressive on sight? Well, instead of cutting off your own line of sight, try cutting off your opponent's line of sight. It is Capital. He cannot get ADS. Proper way, more than likely would have been to shoot it at the door and not take away your vision, take away their vision.
Relaxing, having himself a good night once again here. Another good match as he leads the scoreboard by quite a large margin once again compared to the rest of his opponents in the game and even his own teammates here. Nearly double once again of what his next teammate has, up by a margin of about 5 at this point. So he's once again doing a fantastic job holding his own against the best that NA has to offer here. Some of the best anyway in Rogue.
Yeah, Rogue having a pretty rocky second half of their league. I'm sure you guys know about that. Reciprocity is coming off a big loss last night, but it does not seem to have broken their spirits at all, as they still seem to be to form.
That slow lead up again here for Rogue, but that's the way the game's been played out by them so far. Very much leaving the first minute or 2 in its entirety to play into intel and, more importantly, keep their players in safe positions. If they drone something out and find them that's clear through that method and they're able to take control of it that way, that's perfectly fine. They're more than happy to do that. It's free map control for them. Free map control is free map control after all. Free real estate. So they are going to keep their players back. Besides that, though, and more importantly, stay away from fights until it's either forced upon them or they get low enough on the timer to where they have to go for that all-in execute.
We should probably stop referencing reality things before ESL Rainbow Six just does us in property, brother. My goodness gracious. We have the best social media team on the planet. I tell you guys what. But Rogue, once again, slow and steady, apparently wins the race. Reciprocity, more or less having the same sense on their offensive set, but would get a burst of aggression every once in a while. As we talked about earlier, this is a slow choke from them as they finally got into sight and really showed their dominance in what they can possibly do. Rogue trying to do more of the sense, but just a little bit slower. Eclipse not going to be able to get that black eye cam of Laxings downstairs inside of office, but probably not going to prove too informational.
Don't you just
heavy
hate metal bars?
Yeah, you just hate them. You just hate them. Easily, though, going to open things up as Foxay will meet an untimely death on Legion.
That's not up on the legs. The bars once again getting in the way here. First is the camera. Now it's a player that they unfortunately can't eliminate. I think that's Skies that ends up being the lucky receiver of his life, at least temporarily here, while he survives at 25 HP. We'll have to see if he's able to leverage that in anything useful towards the end of the round, and no, will not be the case. Slashhug is able to finish the job, takes out Skies, brings us into a 5v3, heavily favored to Rogue at this point, unless Rec can really turn something around, but it is just not happening. Vertical and Slash run over two more players, everything on Laxing. A good start with the kill against Eclipse and great situational awareness. He's going to go for kill number 2, trying to do double duty here as he attempts to blow up the Nitro Cell while peeked by another player, but it will not work out. Slashhug picks up the final kill, and our seesawing nature of the match continues, as now we are at 5-5 between our two rosters.
Laxing trying to do his best impression of Keanu Reeves, but it's not going to happen. He's trying to do literally everything at once. Trying to shoot people while blowing up a Nitro Cell. Yeah, by the way, you can do that. But it's a hip fire. You can't aim. So that would have been a crazy kill, though, if he flipped around and has the cell phone in his hand as just the random bullet hits the man in the head in hallway. That would have been truly a sight to see. But not going to happen, as we are tied up once again for time and time again here on Coastline.
I think overtime is a likelihood at this point, given the way it's played out so far, but we'll see if either team can make the difference. Either way, it's definitely going to give the winner of this upcoming round a bit of an edge to play off of. We are going to be going back, I believe, to one of the original sites from Rec, where they did come out on top of it here. And we'll see if they're able to leverage that into a true win. It's a site that I think that specifically they have a lot of experience on and a lot of confidence in being able to close out upstairs here.
If this does go to overtime, everyone, this is not going to be infinite overtime, in case you guys were not aware of the rules. So this is going to be a best of 3 rounds after this. So our max can possibly be 8-7.
That's generally the format we use for most online cups, both here at USN and throughout a lot of our other tournaments as well. I think infinite overtime is reserved for the majors generally, so we usually only bring it out then.
Always got to make sure, just in case.
Save it for special occasions.
We could be here till lunch if we mess around.
No. All right. Careful now. Might have to take a nap at some point if we end up going that.
Oh man, you're going to make me solo cast?
For like 3 rounds.
For like 3 hours? You're not waking up once you go to bed. I know you.
15-minute power nap, you know?
No such thing as a power nap. It's just more and more tired. Frag Grenade is going to come out from Slashhug twice, but neither of those will hit their mark or really deal any damage. The only one that does have damage actually is Retro. Plus 25 health from that, but he is the 3 armor, so plenty of tank still to go. So Eclipse will see Pulse downstairs inside of offices. Things are starting to heat up here for Rogue as they're starting to get some information fed to their teammates.
Start to work his way in. Hookah just taking care of some of the barbed wire that's still sitting on the ground. Marco not going to be able to peek into that. Actually, considering they do not have, as far as I can tell anyone playing deep on the inside, would have been a great opportunity to go for the push, but never going to fault him for not taking care of that, just given the fact that, again, still very early days in the round here, and nothing really has been cleared out from the Rec side on the inside of the site, but they are playing out of it entirely, letting Rogue push their way in should they so desire. Just that crossfire set from the hallway along with the billiards room. They're going to have to try and find a way to either isolate or deal with before they commit themselves to the hookah push. They can be seen below. Nice adjustment there from Retro. Picks up the opening kill, bringing us to a 5v4. The rest of the team going to try to follow up with that, but it's an absolute failure. Toxic Babes are holding back any additional reinforcements as now Rogue, in a moment, are likely going to be down to only just 1 player. Shuttle gets taken out with the diffuser in hand, and while Vertical is able to sneak out a kill, Skies quickly trades him, giving a decisive round over to Reciprocity, and most importantly, map and series point now if they can close out the next round.
Well, they can go to Kitchen. which is a very, very good site. Probably the most played site on this entire map. So, 6-5, Reciprocity in the lead. The main thing for that round, at least, is that Rogue really tried to force the opposition on one door. That's it. They put Vert over on an island inside of Aquarium and go, hey, try and get some frags while they're all focused on these 4 people running through a singular door. And he just didn't get there in time, and it's not his fault at all. All of his teammates just fell to the weaponry of Reciprocity. There was a slight bit of utility usage. They had the Capital bolts going off, everything else, but there really wasn't any toxic babes or anything dedicated to that from the defense. Just sheer lead, and that's all they needed.
Yeah, it was an all-in push, basically, at the end of the day, committing all their assets.
Which was very weird, because there was 1 minute and 10 seconds left on the clock. There's still plenty of time to, okay, we know that they know we have presence here. Let's try and make a rotation over to VIP. Let's try and get a body somewhere else to try and capitalize on the amount of force we're going to try and force through the hookah door.
Very interesting indeed, but I think if I had to guess from Rogue's perspective, I think that there was a bit of an optical illusion in that. The site didn't look as well defended as it actually was, and they might have gotten thrown off by that, willing to kind of commit as many players as they did.
Well, this is a hookah billiards setup in general. You can't play everyone stacked up on one site to try and defend it. I mean, they break down the half wall in between billiards. They usually place someone inside of couch, someone vase, to try and get as many eyes on to this hookah balcony as possible. Because 9 times out of 10, that's where the push is going to come from. I mean, traditionally speaking, competitive teams do like to go into VIP, trying to establish angles from that double wall that faces the billiards hallway, but that wasn't the decision from Rogue. They chose to try and force the opposition through a singular door, and they punished them because of it.
Now, they aren't running any hard breaches from what we've seen here so far, so I think if we're going off of what we've seen from Rec reinforcing previously, yeah, you can see that there are VIPs. That's always going to remain reinforced. That may be the reason why they never tried to pressure there, is they probably would have been limited to the doorway due to the reinforcements on the inside and the fact that they don't bring any hard breach to the table, but that could be something that they would maybe be willing to change up if they run into future issues trying to push the same site.
So a very funny thing. Reciprocity did not go to one of the most won sites on this entire map, percentage-wise, which is Kitchen. They did not. Not a singular time. The only time that they went, the only team that went there was Rogue. Rogue did it 4 times. Reciprocity has done it none. And they've went to the site that no one really wins 3 times. They went to Pen 3 separate times.
Penthouse still being a personal favorite for them. I think they won Penthouse yet?
Yes, they did. They won it in round number 3 of their defense, which means it'll be round number 9. And speaking of winning things, Laxian's going to win a gunfight. Vertical will be on the receiving end of that. Eclipse knows that Laxian's inside of security, but Retro will take up another one. Laxian might actually win this gunfight, but no, he'll finally get taken down inside of security. But the damage has already been done. Buck off the table. Ash off the table. No more soft destruction for the offense unless Eclipse possibly has breach charges.
And so we are going to end up seeing some of the members.
He does.
Yeah, we are going to end up seeing the members of Rogue more than likely try to regroup the other 2 together to make a conjoined push. Eclipse is kind of off on his own right now, and I don't think it's going to be plausible for him to get back together the team anytime soon, at least not judging off the current positions. So we'll see how they're able to build it. Again, their time's going to become an issue here because Rogue always play it so close to 0-0 on the timer here. They're less than a minute left and have barely made any consistent push to the inside. This on top of the fact that all 3 of the RGGs are still available here for Skies to utilize. It's really going to be able to hold this push back by quite a bit. Now, to be fair, Easily still has the Capital, but I believe all of his bolts still to use, both the micro smokes and the asphyxiation, which could isolate the pressure from the smoke, but it's not looking like it at this point. Foxay already able to take out one of their last few players. Eclipse going to have to push the smoke, meaning the cough will be heard, and Skies will be able to read into that, and with their players picking up those kills quickly, they'll shut it down, and it's going to be Reciprocity that take control here. 7-5 at the end of the day. That perfect 2-round run goes into their favor. We do not end up in overtime, and Reciprocity will get the closeout here on Coastline to push them into the Stage 1 final for the Western Conference coming up in 2 weeks.
And I think that Reciprocity was the vote really for everyone to win tonight overall. So,
especially when you look at the individual play from Laxing and how consistent it's been tonight. I mean, no change-ups here from what we saw in their earlier semifinal matchup too. 13-7 at the end of the day on that specific matchup there. And I think the lowest kill ratio we saw from any of their other teammates was like 6 or 7 kills as well. So considering the amount of rounds we played, they granted went to full regulation, but at least everybody picking up at least 6 or 7 kills. So I think a good night for the Rec roster overall when it came to just their fragging capability alone.
31 kills for Lax in between 2 games that neither went to overtime. That's impressive. It's very, very impressive. And actually, this is going to be a 7-5, prior match being 7-4. So statistically speaking, he's very, very close to 1.5 kills per round, which is very, very impressive.
Across 2 completely different maps and against 2 completely different teams, one of which they won't have had really any experience playing against except maybe a few scrims every once in a while, just due to the fact that they, besides USN, of course, play separately from each other for the most part. And here against Rogue, playing against a team that they have a lot of experience on and should have expected to be able to, take them down quite easily, but wasn't the case at all. Definitely went the wire once again, and we ended up seeing the guys from Rec still just absolutely wreck house in a lot of these rounds. We talked about this a lot during the game, a lot of very one-sided rounds, especially in the first half as well that were happening, that were really just seesawing back and forth, and it was constantly, executes happening that would leave teams with 3 or more players alive at the end of it, and their opponent just completely dead on the ground. A lot of very all-in type of strategies from both of our teams tonight. Rogue just wanting to run the timer down a little bit more than Rec did before they executed, and Rec just kind of going at it in quite a few different sites.
Absolutely, absolutely. And I think the main thing is whichever team made the biggest error. Like it seemed like something major happened. Like, okay, there was a big frag on site. They took out a main support. Smoke goes down, something along those lines, and everything collapses for one of the teams. And eventually, Reciprocity just found their stride and come out with the victory.
All right, guys. Well, we've got another interview waiting with a member of Reciprocity. I believe it'll be the same player we had jumping in before. And Stokes will be giving you that interview. So, Stokes, go ahead.
All right, we'll see who we have on the docket. I'm going to guess it's Hopes again. We'll see. Hey, Hopes, welcome back, my man. How are you doing?
How's it going? Good to see you again.
Doing fantastic. Hey, I said earlier I was going to see you soon, and I was right, so that's good.
Yeah.
We'll see the amount of people that caught that was my little, hey, I think that Rec's going to win. But all right, so I got some questions written down here for you. The main one is going to be adjustments. We saw a major adjustment from you guys, playstyle-wise, going into this Rogue match, unlike Scylla's Gorillas, where you guys chose to be more aggressive and say how they dealt with it prior. This time you went with the slower takes, more of the chokehold on site and waiting for Rogue to make an error. Is that traditionally what you guys tried to go with when first feeling out how another very high-tier comp team is playing?
Well, in our opinion, outside of Vert, Rogue is pretty predictable. So if we can just kind of isolate him, it kind of makes it easy for us. And we kind of knew we were going to play Coastline, kind of did more prep work for Rogue than Scylla Gorilla earlier on. So, and on top of that, Coastline's one of our better maps, so we kind of knew what to expect.
Absolutely, absolutely. So next question for you. Penthouse over Kitchen. Why is that?
Historically, Penthouse is much better for us. I mean, for whatever reason, our roam game's really good on that. And, previously, our Kitchen's been terrible. I mean, as of late, it's been a lot better, but Penthouse has always been one of our stronger sites on Coastline.
Respectable. I mean, the percentages are against you guys, but you guys showed right there that you can definitely win it in the clutch. So, last question for you, Hopes, and then you can go to sleep or do VOD review or do whatever coaches do. I've never done that. Yeah. That's why I just cast, That's it. I'm just here to judge you. That's it. So, back-to-back games against different opponents. What goes into the mindset of that, especially having to adjust so quickly from a very young team that might not know as much as Rogue does to going right into a full-fledged competitive team?
So it kind of goes back to my first point. As far as prep for Scylla Gorilla, we only had one CL VOD really, and just map bans and op bans. That's really all we could do. But against Rogue, we had a season-long worth of VODs to prepare. So we are a lot more prepared for Rogue going into this match. So I guess it shows why we kind of played, in my opinion, we played better this match than against Scylla. We shouldn't drop that many rounds against Scylla. No offense to them, they're a great team, but we just expect to play better.
I mean, that's exactly what you expect when you're a top 3 North American team. So I can't doubt you in that fact. And Scylla's being a very young competitive team showed at least some resolve in some of those rounds where you guys did have a minor edge, but they somehow rallied back. So, those minor mistakes always punishing, and that's the name of the game of Rainbow Six Siege. So, Hopes, I want to thank you so much for coming back to interview with me once again. And who knows, might be talking to you again very soon.
Yeah, hopefully. See you soon.
See you, buddy.
once again to the members of Reciprocity making their way through the open bracket. They now enter the closed qualifier for the Western Conference, which they're going to play off against one more team who will qualify starting from next week. That closes out our final match for the day, ladies and gentlemen. So let's look back very quickly on the matches that have been played out today. Just in case you weren't with us, of course, we saw Rogue take on Members Only, winning 7-5, even concluding a replayed match as well, as we played the first half and then had to replay it once again due to some connection issues. We then saw Scylla's Gorillas go up against Reciprocity, where Reciprocity reigned supreme with their fast-paced attacking style that we know and love to see. And then Stokes, what do we see in that last match?
We had Rogue versus Reciprocity. I know it's kind of a shock, even though you have the results there for you. The two PL teams making it to the final. So, Reciprocity edging out Rogue at the end. I mean, you heard it from the man there. They're very good at making adjustments, and that's exactly what they did throughout that map on Coastline, kind of feeling things out and adding aggression in where they could, as they're so well known for.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, well, that is going to do it for this evening's broadcast. We want to thank you all very much for tuning in. Be sure to join us at the same time on Thursday, where we'll be covering the Eastern Conference Open Bracket playoffs and pushing in one more team for the Eastern Conference into their finals. Stick with us once again, folks, for that on Thursday. But for now, have a very nice evening.